Hello, I'm Daniel, and this is my wife, Kimberly Graham.
And we're your money mastery coaches. We work with high earning power couples to guide them to financial harmony in their financial communication.
Utilizing the Affluent Synergy Framework, even if you meticulously budget every expense and talk money to your partner.
Find out more at theaffluentmarriage.com. We can't wait to help you live in love
and walk in wealth. Welcome everybody to the Affluent Marriage Podcast. We're kicking it here on our Better Together Tuesday with someone that we really feel embodies the power couple. Some of y'all may know very well. Some of y'all may not know at all. So we're excited to have them, but our mission is very, very simple here, guys. Our mission is to help you to take control of your finances and strengthen your relationship by aligning your goals through strategic communication. So that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about talking. That's what we do. So we're going to bring Marc and Deana, our resident power couple of the day, to the stage. Yay! Welcome. Hey. Hey, happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays. I mean, we're clearly underdressed, right?
I mean, it's all good. It's all good.
That's all good. That's all good. Yeah, we're just wrapping up Thanksgiving. Hopefully you guys had a really good Thanksgiving. My in-laws cooked and cleaned, so my Thanksgiving was great.
Yes, and they watched our kids so we could go on a date night.
Oh, we did go on a date night. That is true.
Even better.
Let me tell you, that's the best part of the holidays is having a really, really strong adult to kid ratio. So it helps for sure.
It does 100%. And I just want to make sure, right, that people know who you are. They know who we are. They just saw our intro. But I'm so excited because I know we stream this on Success Tribe. What's up, Success Tribe? But we also stream this on our platforms and our podcasts, and they don't know who you are. So they need to know. So who are you?
Awesome. Well, I am Deana Jean. Some people call me your collab queen. And I work with experts to help them to collaborate better so that they can grow their businesses without a ton of burnout. And Marc.
My name is Marc. I'm married to Deana. That's my business acumen. I'm a retired veteran.
There you go. But you got more than that, though, because you got your own little entrepreneurial thing that at least we were talking about in Cancun. What do you got going on? Because you were doing a whole lot of work there in Cancun.
I'm a videographer, cinematographer. Right. You know, what I like to do is capture your moments and make sure you can have that for your content reels.
Look at that.
Where was that 3 minutes ago? Dude. Come on.
You got to let people know.
What's up on me?
Deana's like, I know we've been working on that one, that big buy promise.
That's all him. That's all him. He has his own sessions where he works through all the things. So it's good.
I love it. You recently graduated, right?
I did.
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
That's such a big deal.
It's a very big deal. It's a very big deal. And especially after being in the military for over 20 years and then being able to go to film school and graduate. So I think it's a big deal too.
It's huge. It's huge. And when we talk about communication, like this is, I think, one of the things that when I was like, oh my gosh, Marc and Deana would be so great for this is because the dynamic shift that happens when you are when you're like helping your spouse like go through school. We had another couple that were on that were very similar. Like he paid for his but they were dating and he paid for his then girlfriend, soon to be wife, whatever, to go get her master's because he believed in her. And I was like, that's some serious support and that's some serious
faith. That's a risk.
Right? That's a risk. That's a faith. That's a lot of like that you believe in your spouse and your significant other. So walk me through that because that's a transition to go from something that's I'm in the military to I want to go back to school. And
actually she championed me going back to school. It was I was sitting at the table with Chase. I have a sore throat. I apologize. I sound crazy.
And Chase is our youngest son. We have 3 kids. That way. Yeah.
That's why your throat is sore because you've been yelling all day, dude. Your voice.
All
the kids things. And I told him I want to make movies, but the safe bet is to get a job in government. And he goes, what does mom always say? She says, do it scared.
Mm.
Came into the room and she goes, "What are we talking about?" I said, "I'm thinking about homeschool." And she goes, "Yeah, do it." It wasn't a thought. There was no long drawn out conversation. It was, "Yeah, do it." And
Mm-hmm.
2 years
There
later,
you go. Here you
Done and
are.
done. Done and
Here you
done.
are. Oh my gosh. I totally skipped over. I got so excited because talking to you both is just, how did you guys meet?
Okay. Do you want me to tell the story, or are you gonna tell?
He's
I'll tell.
got to do it. I hope
Because
this is super embarrassing. I love this. Come on.
so we met through a mutual friend. So in my last year of college, um, I had a friend where we would go out for different theme nights for dinner, like once a week, whatever. And one night she was like, "Hey, my friend is going to come out with us." This was not like a setup or anything like that. It was just like, "Hey, we're all going to go out to eat together." And I'm like, "Okay, fine, whatever." So we get to the place. Tequila Grill was the name of. He always forgets, but now he remembers all of a sudden. Tequila Grill, me and the initial friend. And we're there, we're waiting, and then we're waiting. And after a while, I'm like, "Yo, let's order some drinks. Like, let's order some food. Come on, let's get this going." And we're there for 2 hours eating, mind you, because we were like, "Yeah, whatever." And then he rolls in, like it's just like a regular day, right? And he's like, "Yo, what's going on?" And I'm like, and I'm not gonna swear because typically I would, but I know this is, it's like, who does that? Like, who walks into a place 2 hours late for like dinner and has like no regard? And like, he's like, "Well, no, it's okay. I'll buy y'all some drinks." I'm like, "No, bump that. I can buy my own drink. Like, we don't need to talk to each other." So we spent literally the entire night like arguing. Like going back and forth. And I was like, "Why am I so angry with this person?"
I
like,
love it so much.
Under my skin. I was like, "Who is this guy?" And time went on. And then by the end of the night, he said to me, by the end of the night, he was like, "Yo, you're fired." He was like, "I'm going to marry you." I was like, "Absolutely not. What are you talking about?"
He said, "I met my match."
Yes.
Oh,
It was
Mark.
the craziest thing ever. But the way that he turned it around was that it was like 11:30 at night, midnight, and where we were was like 10 blocks away from my dorm, and it's in DC. And so we're like, "All right, we're going to, we're leaving." And him and my friend were like, "Oh, we're going to go to this other spot or whatever." She's, she lived in Virginia. He was like, "Oh, I'll take you home." And I was starting to walk, and he was like, "Nah." He was like, "You're not walking home." I was like, "What are you talking about? I'm from Brooklyn. I can walk in DC in the middle of the night. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm 10 blocks away from school. It's a college town." And he was so into, he was like, "No, absolutely not. You cannot walk home. Like, that's crazy." He was like, "You never have to see me again." He was like, "But there's no way I can let you leave here and let you walk home alone." And I got into the back of the car and drove me home. And then a few days later, he called me randomly. I didn't give him my number. He got my number randomly and called me. And
I was given the number.
Little by
That was
little,
that military background right there.
The number.
Not by me. So and then little by little, we just started talking, and then we dated, and then that was that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Well,
that was 21 years ago. So
21 years ago. My
21 years ago.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I only met Mark for a little bit in Cancun, but just in knowing him in those few short days, like, doesn't that sound just like something that he would do? He's just like, "You are fine."
He's very on brand. If nothing else,
so authentic.
Very consistent.
Yeah, so authentic.
Yes.
Well, in my defense, and she brought this up later.
And remember, we don't have a lot of time. We're not going to be here.
We're not going to be here all night.
Go ahead.
But I have a younger sister, and at the time, I couldn't just leave her at home. So I was a good big brother. I was late. I should have called or texted someone, but I didn't have a cell phone because this was 2002.
She's like, "Okay."
I didn't have her. Yeah,
the point being, so that's how we started. But again,
he came in so strong, though.
That's the DC.
You think so?
He was serious.
Coming
I
in
mean, he
strong.
was committed. He
No,
was committed to it. He was like, nah, I'm married.
No.
I was like, you're a wildin'. You're crazy.
And ultimately, while we were dating, I wasn't seeing anybody else. I didn't know if she was. And then one day I was like, yo, if you're seeing someone else, just call them and tell them you're not seeing them anymore. And she's like, what do you
The
mean?
game.
And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, because we've been seeing each other every weekend for the past 3 weeks. Someone is jealous. And if he's not, you're wasting your time.
Look. Dan's like, listen.
Game.
Hey.
Game.
And she,
Yeah.
you know, we sat there for a little bit. She was like, huh,
Okay.
okay.
I guess.
Oh my gosh.
What was that?
That game is real. He was not messing around. He came and I think it was the fire. He saw the fire that you met him and he was like, okay.
Wow.
It was on game. It was like he saw it because there was no way for me. I was like, you're out of your mind. There's no way.
So this is very similar to Alicia and Bryce's story. You should let's hear
I
their
was about
story.
to say, I was listening to Alicia and Bryce the other day, and so I think it is. So Alicia and Bryce, I don't think didn't like each other at the beginning, but how they were dating, and Bryce was like, Bryce said the same thing. He was like, no, we're definitely exclusive.
It's me.
I will not be put in the friend zone. This is my intention. Yeah.
Right.
So
if you didn't know, you know now.
But he knew, and again, it's been 21 years, military, jobs, states moving back and forth, 3 kids,
COVID,
cancer, breast cancer, all the things. And then here we are.
So much. Okay. So there's a lot to uncover, and we're not going to have time to uncover everything because that was a lot of chapters that we could have been which chapter do we want to uncover?
Every chapter could be an episode, right?
Legit. So let's just talk. Right, communication is huge. Period. We know this, right? How have you guys been able to cultivate this teamwork, ethic, communication with each other as you've gone through so many different ebbs and flows and changes?
This is an interesting question.
I don't think we've gotten this question before.
And the reason that this question is interesting, and this is just us, is because right now we're actually semi-arguing about something, right? Because, but this is kind of part of,
I love her.
This is part of our communication style, right? Is that, I always say that the thing for us that has sustained us over time is the fact that we could always go back to the fact that we were friends. Even if we did not feel even if I could look at him and be like, I don't like you as a husband right now, right? Mm-hmm. I can look at him as my friend and be like, but we're friends. And that has helped us to be able to really sustain communication. So for us, I would say one thing that I think is really important, even though it's kind of an undertone of our relationship, has been our faith. Mm-hmm. That our faith has always been a place that we can go back to together and be able to see the God in one another, but also be able to have that even ground where we can kind of restart. And I think also through the years, we've become much more confident and transparent in the way that we communicate with each other as we've matured. Right. Because you know how it is when you're younger, it's I don't want to upset this person.
Absolutely.
And I'm not really sure how he would take this. And he'll tell you, when I turned 40, I was just blah. I'm telling you all the things. This is all the stuff that I feel. You ain't going nowhere. This is what it is. But take it or leave it.
See what she said?
Preach.
Right? But we have to get to that point in our relationship where we were okay, clearly this is a life sentence, right? We're really not going anywhere. So let's just have the communication be really transparent. And in that, I think that it has helped us really have a different level of respect for one another.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So that would be what would you say?
I'm not a great communicator. And
we got this on
Yes.
This is recorded, right? Okay, good.
Yeah, I think
I'm
it
glad.
might be a little red
I was
box
like,
on
wow,
the top left.
he just
I
came
get a
out
copy
there.
of this,
Tell me
right?
more.
I get a copy.
Yes.
Get a copy? Okay, cool.
I'm not a great communicator in the sense of being able to convey where my emotions are in the moment.
Mm.
I have to take a moment. Today, I had to take a moment. In those moments, I make a conscious choice every time. Like, this is dumb for me to be angry with her because she's my person.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to be able to just go to her and say, hey, listen. And I
He
felt
did
like
something
I was
today
like,
that he's never done before, though. Actually, like he actually came like with like a mea culpa and was like, "All right, this is how I feel.
right,
This is what happened from my point of view,
right.
and like this was my intention." Which again, I think that's growth and maturity on
Right,
both
'cause
of
I
our
couldn't do
sides.
that 5 years ago. I feel like 5 years
Right.
ago that conversation would have went left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now that we've reached a point in our relationship where I don't feel as challenged in my emotions, and I'm showing up more now in my emotion because
Yeah.
of us two. I'm the feeler.
The way she
There was a smirk there. There was a little.
Yeah, no, I'm the feeler.
He's
And
a feeler.
So I always have to make sure I take that into consideration when I'm conversing with her.
Yeah.
Because while I'm the feeler, I still want to be her buffer because I'm the extrovert. She's an introvert. I understand that energy. I understand why I'm giving her that energy and space to be able to pull back and just let me be up there. And it's been an amazing teamwork.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. If nothing else, I think what we are able to do really, really well is like if there is a mission or if there's a goal, we're very, very good about like putting the BS aside and being like, all right, we gotta get like today, we were like, all right, we gotta do this thing. So either you're gonna stay mad and do it, or you're not gonna be mad.
It's gonna show up on camera either way. So
right, what we gonna do?
We're not gonna not show.
So. Right, exactly. And at the end of the day, like where are you going? Right? So it's like, hey, you mad?
No, I really can't go nowhere. She has my car keys.
So all I'm seeing is, when Mark started this relationship, he brought that fire and he was like, I'm going to marry you. And this is it. And now now Deanna hit 40 and she's like, I'm bringing that fire now too. Where are you going? Where are you going to go, Mark? I can match that energy.
I heard someone say the other day, it's very wise. You learn the movements of your person so you don't get hurt by them. I fall into her movement. Like we stay in each other's orbit, and it's in the 20 plus years. I can't say it's perfect.
No,
but it feels and will feel amazing every single time.
Right. We have a rhythm.
It's the rhythm. Yeah. Like when that rhythm falls in and we fall into that cadence, like I can do anything by my wife's tongue because she strengthens me. Like I'm getting biblical with that. Like this one is amazing. I love it.
Oh my God. I'm like, so what I heard, right, is that it's an evolution. Like it's constantly evolving and building and shifting and changing. And it's this continuously deciding to come back to the center. Like I love that you said, like, listen, at the end of it all, he is my friend. He is my rock. At the end of it all, our faith, we have to be able to see the God in each other. Like that's where it has to come to, right? But also being willing to come together and say, like, as I'm changing, as I'm learning more about myself and how to understand how I deal with my thing is conflict. I don't like conflict. Like I said in the first episode, he yelled at me one time, and that's all that needed to happen before I was like,
I never did that again.
Conflict either. I avoid conflict at all costs, and I say all the time, he leans into conflict. And he says he doesn't, but he really leans into it. And I'm like,
I don't lean.
Why do you live like this?
Why
are you constantly looking for a reason to be in opposition to like someone?
All the time.
And not in like a confrontational way, but like
all the time.
Like if you say A, he's like, nah, dog, Z. Even if he doesn't believe it, he's like, nah, it's Z. It's Z. It's just
Z.
to see
Yeah.
what
Oh
your
man,
reaction is. And I'm like, why would you do that?
Mark, it's okay. I feel no. That's him and his brothers. Him and his
it's our
brothers.
upbringing. It's my upbringing.
And I can't do that. So I think he thought that that's what was going to happen coming into the
I
relationship.
tried to have this like banter back and forth, and she shut it down
I was like,
instantly.
that's
It was like, we don't do that here.
We don't do that.
We don't do that here.
No.
And I was like, oh, okay.
I'm like, you're talking to your. I can't.
Like, I'm not going to come back. I it takes me a while to come up with a clap back. I can't do that. Like, I don't have one for you. Like, I'm
She's like, just sit here and cry.
Right? I'm gonna sit here and cry. That's it. I'm gonna sit here and cry.
Facts.
And you're gonna be like, yo, I thought you were gonna fight. No, I'm not. I'm just gonna sit here and cry.
I'm just curling up in the ball. No, I mean,
That's it.
yeah. But I think that that's part of it too, right? Like realizing one another's, and like the fact that that's who he is, like that's who he is.
Yeah.
I can't and would not change anything about him when it comes to that. And I know he also knows how I am, right? So it affects the way that we communicate and that we engage because we allow each other that birth.
And it also sets a boundary, but it's not a spoken boundary. So like, I've never seen her rage. She's never seen mine. And I don't think we'll ever get to a point where that will happen because we always come back to center despite being angry. So like we're not on the same wavelength. We're in the same pool.
We're in the same pool.
We're in the same pool. Still in the
I was just thinking, rage. That's a really good one. Have we ever seen each other's rage?
No. Well,
no, I don't think so.
you've heard about my rage when people mess with me, but
That's true. That's true. That's only a tip of the iceberg of rage. Yeah, he almost got into a fight one time. It was like, I'm just kidding.
we're live, babe. Don't
I'm
talk
not
about
going to
that
say
stuff.
that. Don't worry. I'm just kidding. But like, I know I've never seen that, and it's so interesting. Like, you know, you think I'll say this: there are other couples where that is common, where they're able to see that rage of that person because they're not able to control and be able to see like this goes back to like what we talk about in our spaces is like you need to have a safe space and understand that within the safe space of talking to your spouse, there's a vulnerability there that you have to protect, yours and theirs. And so there's a reason I never thought about that. You would not see that rage because I care about you too much to show you that side of myself because I know what it would do to you and I know what it would do to us. So we have to have this reciprocation to like help each other, like in that safe space. It's a very delicate dance, as you mentioned.
No, that's what I don't want to miss because Mark talked about like it's a delicate dance and like we know how each other moves, and Deanna knows Mark takes that time to process. Like it's not going to be like boom, let me give it to you right. Like hold on, you said your piece, cool. Let me think about it.
Yeah.
Let me process it, and I will get back to you. But I need to sit on it for a second.
3 business days. I'm just kidding.
But it's important. It's important.
And it takes time and experience, right? Like over time, what I know is that his pattern is that he will come back, right? Like he will come back and say 3 or 4 days later, all right, what you said that day, like I get it, I got it. And he will have implemented it already, right? But he needs to take time to process on his own. Whereas like I am like the ultimate implementer integrator, right? Like if you say something to me, like if he says to me, even in passing, like, oh, I really love Snickers bars. I'm like literally on the phone, like Snickers bars. All right. And like within an hour, like, right? Like that's me. And for me, it's been a big part of like challenging myself to not expect me from him.
Yes. Oh my God.
I think that's a really important thing too, because I would get frustrated. I'm like, why aren't you doing the thing? And he's like, it's not.
I feel like this episode is going to be after. Okay. So last week would have been Natasha and Isaac.
Mhm.
And we literally just had this conversation. We had back-to-back calls, right? But we just had this conversation about not expecting your spouse to respond the way that you feel like they should respond, right? And not, we were talking about how like he has been in entrepreneurship for majority of his since he was 19. And she was in corporate and then kind of like dabbled and was like, and he saw the potential in her, but she wasn't ready to see it yet. And I was like, how do you handle that? Like, right. And like finances is what we normally see it in, where one couple is like, one person
partner
is like, I see it. I see the vision of what this needs to be. I know where our money could be. I know what it could look like. But the other spouse just doesn't get it yet. How do you navigate that and not expect that, well, this is how I see it. Why can't you see it my way?
And the thing I want to be careful with that, and I said this last time, is you need to be careful that it's not one person is right and one person is wrong. It's not you versus me. That's not it. Right.
Right.
But everyone has their own value and their belief priorities with money. And it's not one person's right, one person's wrong. Like one person might want to invest and they want to see their money grow over the next decade, 20, 30 years and be multimillionaires by the time they're 65. And one person's like, I don't want to wait 30 years to see my money work. Like I want to go on the trips and the vacations and the travels now. I want those lifestyles and experiences. I want that now.
Yeah.
So it's not one person's right or one person. It's just what do you value with money?
Right. And there's this, like we talked about, then you got to find things where the crossroads meet. You got to find places where you're like, we both agree on this, and let's start there. And like instead of like kind of trying to push and pull the other person to get where you are, finding those common grounds, that commonality as a place to like your center, like, okay, this is where we both are on the crossroads. Oh my goodness. So this has been really great. We've been having really great conversation just about like communication and just, I feel like dissecting, well, it started with how you guys met, but also how it's been able to infiltrate all the rest of the ebbs and flows of all the chapters of your life. What do you think, if you were talking to a power couple, an aspiring power couple, do you think is the most important thing advice that you could give them on working together to get to a desired goal?
Me first. Okay.
He needs to process. Let him process.
Yes.
I know. I gave him. You saw I gave him the nod, right? Like you can go for a piece. I'm actually going to use, so there's something that Marc has always said, right? Like in times of difficulty, in times when we haven't been on the same page, in times when like it's been a challenge, like figuring out things with the kids. And he always says, like one team, right? Like we're on the same team. And I think that is a critically important thing to think about when you're going to set a goal, and understanding that being on the same team does not mean that you need to play the same position.
Ooh,
right? Like,
yeah.
We talk about collaboration a lot, because that's what we do, is collaboration, where you need different positions and different personas for different things. So understanding that being on the same team, the diversity of the thoughts and the ideas, and even the way that you see things differently is actually a strength versus it being a detriment when you put each person in a position to do their thing, right? And to do their thing really, really well. Like as an example with our kids, we have 3 kids. They range in age from 7 to 14. I am much better with younger kids. Like I have the patience of a saint to go with the younger kids, right?
She does.
But once they get 12 and 13 and they're talking back and get the attitude, like I might have to yoke you up. Like, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to be the person to do it.
Oh man.
Is so much better with kids in their teenage years and younger adults. So because of that, we like had to have a discussion where I'm like, all right, this one is yours for the next 3 years. Like you got this.
We had this.
And I got this one. But like, and obviously we both parent, right?
Absolutely.
But it's like, at the point, and I'm like, nah, like get your boy,
Yep.
get your boy.
Yep.
He knows that means. And when he's at the point, he's like, go get her. I'm like, I got her, right?
I
So
got her.
it's
Yep.
versus like being frustrated and upset with each other because he doesn't have patience, for young kids, and I don't. So I think that that's a really important part of achieving a goal.
Yeah.
What do you say?
You mentioned being on one team, and undeniably, it's the foundation of faith. Every test, every trial that we've endured in our relationship, it's always gone back to like, okay, what do we believe?
Mm-hmm.
Who gives us comfort when we need something? Who do we call to? Call on God.
Yeah.
When she got the notice of the cancer after the biopsy, I remember there are so many things that you'll see in life you won't forget. When your wife has a look of fear, you don't forget that.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that popped in my head was like, she's scared. And this isn't a mugger. This is something I can tangibly take care of. I can't protect her from this.
Mm-hmm.
And what popped into my head was like, but God's got it because his grace is sufficient. And she said, she said, well, what are we going to do? I'm like, God's got it because his grace is sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been what sustained us, just
over time.
having that faith to know that, okay, no matter how dark it is,
right, we believe that it all works together for our good, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that that's definitely an important part as well.
Yeah, faith.
I love and being a team.
Yeah,
I love that. I think that is, it's not ironic that that's come up in several of our calls so far. The idea of faith, of having something that draws you together as like your core, has to be a part of it. And I think that's absolutely amazing. I love those attributes of those pillars for anyone who's wanting to go through something, whether it be starting a business, whether it's going through a diagnosis, whether it's, trying to manage and overcome their finances, whether it's parenting. There's so many things in marriage that we have to make sure that we have to recognize we can't do this on our own. We have to be a team. If we're not, then we're not, we're not going to make it. Like, that's just what it is.
Right.
And I love the idea of positions or roles, like knowing your role in the relationship. And when you're going through tough, like business is ups and downs, right? There are good times and there are bad times. Being an entrepreneur is like a risk. Being 9 to 5 is super safe, right?
Yep.
But it's a risk to be an entrepreneur, and you guys know that all too well. And when you take those risks, like sometimes they pay off and sometimes they don't. And knowing your role in the relationship and be like, all right, it is my job to be a supporter. Like, this is not, when she fails, when he fails, it's not my ammunition for my agenda, right? Like I want to support them. I want to lift them up, even though things suck and I might wanted them to do something different. I'm not going to use that as ammunition to beat them down. So knowing your role in the relationship and even in like the finances and like, what do you bring to the table? What are your strengths? Like, I'm gonna let you shine in that and I'm going to support you. So no, I've really enjoyed our conversation today.
So good. So I do want to be respectful of time. So here is where you can go ahead and shout out if you have anything, if you want to pitch, whatever you want to do, go for it.
Tell us where to find you, for sure.
Tell us where to find you.
Well, I mean, first of all, thank y'all so much for having us. We really, really appreciate it. And you can absolutely connect with me. My platforms of choice are going to be LinkedIn and Facebook. And you can find me on both of those at Deana Jean, DeanaJean. And would love to be able to connect with anyone who, has interest in collaboration as an entrepreneur and finding opportunities to really find a community that can help you rise together faster. So that's for me.
Pitch. Okay. If you're an entrepreneur who would like to develop certain visual content, I would love to help you with that. You can find me on Instagram, MAJean_images, spelled Mike Alpha Juliet Echo Alpha November _images, Instagram, and Marc Antoine Jean on Facebook. And of course, I'm always next to this beautiful woman. So if you ping her, you can probably get me too.
I'm obsessed.
I love it. I love it. Get it, Mark.
Also, the collab queen, listen, if you have not been in the Success Tribe, if you're watching on any of these other platforms or listening on our podcast, you've got to get in there if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to be connected with the best entrepreneurs, us included. But if you're wondering about like, oh, our can or whatever, like Deanna is literally the reason it all happened. So make sure that you go connect in the Success Tribe to get more access to all of that.
Yeah, Kim came to me the other day and she was like, babe, I don't think I can ever leave. And I was like, well, what do you mean you can never leave? Like, this isn't family. What are you talking about? She's like, no, you don't understand. I think I found something that I don't think I can ever leave. I was like, all right.
No,
cool.
Wow.
Listen, that's what we look to cultivate, and not in a cultish way, right? But we, the value is there, and we just appreciate y'all so much for being part of the tribe and for just adding so much value and bringing your most authentic selves. And y'all definitely need to connect with Kim and Dan around all of the amazing things that they're doing. We're going to be at their masterclass coming up. So definitely make sure that y'all connect with them. They're the real deal for sure.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And as always, we want our couples to.
Yeah, guys, go live in love, walk in wealth, settle that argument, whatever y'all about to do after this call. Take care, guys.